Alright guys, so today we're actually going to do something in the yard. I'm going to show you some tips on doing a spring cleanup, and basically this is the first thing you should be doing to your lawn every spring. It's not the complete everything because right now it's too early to do pre-emergent. If you're unsure, go to grassdaddy.net, click on, I think it's maps, and there's a pre-emergent map that'll show you across the country. If it's red, it's not time yet. Yellow, it's getting to be time, and green means you should be putting your pre-emergent down. But here at least, it's too early for that, but there are some important things you want to do. So the first one is to get anything off the grass. So I'm gonna have my kids look around for sticks, big sticks and rocks that are in the grass, and to get them off the yard. All right, so guys, get going. Yep, the balls and bats, those need to get off the grass too. Alright guys, so the first thing you want to do every spring is to clean up the yard. And so what we're doing right now is I'm having the kids take everything off the grass. Now, the goal here is to get as much sunlight on the grass as possible. So even things like these chairs, we're gonna take them off the grass because you want it to start to get sunlight as soon as possible. Also things like these recycling bins. See, we still got some snow here. And so those recycling bins are gonna prevent the sun from melting the snow and evaporating the moisture. So we wanna get everything off, and then we're gonna wanna do either some blowing or some light raking. And so I've got a blower over here. My preferred method is to use a blower. Now, if you have a really powerful blower, you can do a really awesome job with this. All right, so you see how fluffed up that got? That's what you want. You want the airflow going. Now, you can use rakes, but you gotta be careful of something. Hey guys, can you get that stuff off the grass over there? So a lot of people have the misunderstanding that when you're doing the spring cleanup, you're trying to get up all the thatch. But really, I'll show you what happens if you use a thatching rake first thing in the spring. All right, where are we at? All right, so you can see it's pulling up the grass, roots and all, just destroying it. The soil is too moist to be doing that. The roots haven't grown back in. Every year roots die off and come back, and so you don't want to be doing any hard raking like that. If you are going to rake, you're going to want to use either one of the plastic rakes, like these guys that you see. These are good because they're not hard enough where they're going to do too much damage, and you're just kind of lightly fluffing it up. I do like these guys. It's my favorite rake of all time. You can see it does a little bit better, but you do see it is catching some. So you gotta be careful with this early in the spring. So for spring cleanup sake, that's why I prefer using the blower. Some people like to do the back and forth. Some people like to more do an up or down, or do circles and all sorts of patterns. Honestly, I get bored while I'm doing it, so I tend to play around with different angles and just do it different the whole time. But it really doesn't matter. You'll see, if you see something that's not blowing, try a different angle. It's not that hard, but what is interesting is with the battery powered blowers, the balance is completely different than the gas ones. You can do some funny stuff with it. So people like me will have more fun doing it.
So there is one tip: if you see like sticks or other objects that are stuck into the soil, you can use the blower to get it out without having to rake it up. So you're gonna see a stick here, gonna get real close to it, and you see I'm just kind of like tapping on it. So eventually, oh, there it goes, it'll loosen up and fling away. And so it's a great way to get all those chunks of materials out without having to rake it and pull up roots and all that. Now again, it depends on how crazy you want to get, and if you have the backpack blower, it's a lot easier to go crazy with it, but even with this simple electric blower, you can get it done.
Alright guys, there you go. Now you can see the different styles there are, how clean you want it to get. So that really depends on how much effort you want to put into it and how OCD you are. When I was doing landscaping, my boss, he would say it's going to be like a carpet, and a nice carpet. So we would go crazy. Like, we'd keep that nozzle on the ground. Every tiny little stick, like you saw here, there's a stick that's buried in the mud there. But if you keep tapping at it, eventually it'll catch the wind and blow it away. So we did that over client yards completely, and it looked pretty much like this. I will say the battery blower is actually doing much better than I thought, better than the ones I've used in the past. So the technology is awesome. But if you have a large yard in your OCD, you're gonna want a backpack blower. That's just the way it is. But yeah, so that's all you gotta do. And you can see this area hasn't been done. You can see it kind of looks flat and matted down, whereas here you can see it's fluffier. You can see, like, look at all this sticking up. It's not very tall, but it's sticking up. It's able to dry. And that's what you want. You want it to dry out so it can start to revive itself and come out of dormancy, get all that sun on all the blades, because the more sun it gets, the better. Where I mostly focus is around mulch beds. You can see all the mulch that got rained out and snowed out. So I'll go around and I'll blow it all into the beds before I put the mulch down. So that way, you know, you're not blowing it on after you get the mulch. But you can see the yard is looking pretty bare. So I was doing a mix of Kentucky bluegrass and perennial ryegrass in the backyard. And then I was reading some research on perennial ryegrass. They actually did a test in Massachusetts, and they found, I think it was either 65 or 85% of perennial ryegrass dies off in the winters here. So I know Ryan, he's got ryegrass, and he said it doesn't die off there. So it is interesting. I think it's going to be a combination of the weather, the types of weather. We do tend to get like humidity, and then, you know, like it'll be warm and wet, and then it'll freeze and back and forth. So I'm wondering if maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but so I won't be doing ryegrass anymore, because as you can see, every winter it looks like this. But then if we do a quick pass over to the front yard, I mean, look at the front yard. It hasn't woken up yet, but it's completely full. And then the backyard, even here, I think I had more Kentucky bluegrass, but this area, it's all spotty. So I will be doing just Kentucky bluegrass again, but it was fun to play with the ryegrass because it does germinate fast. But I'm getting a little sidetracked from the point of this video. The point is, in the springtime, your best bet is to use a blower. If you really just don't want to use a blower and want to rake, wait till it's fully dried out so you don't rip it up. And I would not recommend dethatching quite yet. Later in the spring I will dethatch. Once the grass has started to grow and it's dried out, I'll mow really short with the bagger on, I'll dethatch, and then I'll mow again with the bagger on and get up more of the gunk. But that's just to make it look nicer. You don't have to do that. So there you go. On to see you next week. I'm gonna try to do weekly videos this year. So we'll see how that works out. If you like my videos, you'll love my website, grassdaddy.net. The Lawn Care Planner tool will download the local weather reports every morning and build a lawn care plan catered to your area. The Lawn Care Journal allows you to keep track of what you put down, when you put it down, so there's no more guessing or over or under applying any products. We also have a Lawn of the Week contest. Every week a winner gets a Grass Daddy t-shirt. And last but not least, there are application calculators and articles to help you identify and tackle problems in the lawn. So check it out, it's completely free, it's grassdaddy.net.